Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fantabulous episode of Youth Connect. I'm Aiden.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Logan.
I'm Jeffrey.
And again, welcome to another amazing episode. And if you guys know, that means that it's Friday, and that includes our amazing Youth Connect episode. Now, for those who are wondering, what is Youth Connect? What is it? What's going on? What is this strange, why are there four people in front of me? Well, Youth Connect is a news, interest, entertainment show that is more than just sharing stories. We are here to bring you news that have been never seen before. We're talking music, we're talking cooking knowledge, video games, stuff that you would never see those news people ever talk about, because we want this show to be fun, exciting, and to connect us as a community. And that's actually why we have a new segment that we've been working on for a while now called Community News. So if you ever wondering what the heck's going on in our community, well, thankfully, you got our amazing Youth Connect to tell you what's happening. Anyways, I hope this is a show that you are going to absolutely love. And I know that Logan, I know that Jeff, and I know that Kevin is going to bring you some awesome news. But if you know, we always have to keep a kind of good schedule. And the first thing that we always start off with is, of course, some game news. Okay, so I'm up first, and I'm bringing you some interesting gaming news. And this is important, guys. Very important. So, guys, in around 2023, the European Union passed a ruling that from February 2027 and onwards, all portable electronic devices will be required to have replaceable batteries. Now, what does that mean? The reason being is because in an effort to counter the planned obsolescence of modern tech, the law means if you want to sell electronics in the EU, you have to let customers switch out the battery. That means the Switch 2, for example, would be in a spot of bother come this time next year, which is actually pretty shocking. This is all part of the right to repair movement that's been gaining steam in Europe over the last 5 years. And the legislation is a big step forward for that. It does, sadly, not include mobile phones and tablets, but it does catch Nintendo's brand new hybrid console that they're working on at the current moment. Hence, the reporting from, apparently that's been reported that the company will modify the console specifications to allow consumers to easily replace the battery. And if you know with Apple, that technically means you got to buy their specially made battery, which is going to be at least 3 times the price. But that technically does mean you can do it on your own fruition without any downsides. The site adds also that it could similarly spread to both Japan and the United States if consumer awareness of the right to repair increases. I definitely have signed up for it, guys, because it's a very important movement. And not only will this affect the Switch 2 itself, but all Joy-Cons as well, meaning batteries that have been worn down by constant repeated charging or damaged or being charged without being depleted would no longer be something players have to just put up with. If you guys know, Nintendo has a horrible habit of making Joy-Cons in a way that they break down and you need to buy new ones in about a month, maybe even 3 months max. And there was actually a lawsuit for it where they were forced to give free repairs to Joy-Cons. Thankfully, though, with this change, we are now able to legally mess with the Joy-Cons and replace the battery with no downsides, meaning that Nintendo doesn't have to be on our rear end about it. I'm very excited about this, guys, because this means now that if your Switch ever gets damaged or something like that, like the battery, for example, you, the consumer, gets to replace the battery without having to go to Nintendo and buying a brand new Switch or going over $300 worth of repairs for just replacing a simple battery. Now you can do it in the own comfort of your own home. Very interestingly, guys, did you know The 3DS and Nintendo DS actually already had this feature where if you had 2 or 3 different batteries, like the PlayStation Portable, for example, you could just switch that one battery and put in the new battery, and boom and voila, you would have 3 different batteries to bring onto a road trip or things like that. But the Switch 2 never made it like that. Now, though, we could have technically endless battery usage because now we can replace the batteries starting next year. Hopefully, we can get it to the United States of America because the EU is pushing some important stuff like the right to repair. And honestly, if you've ever heard repairmen talk about the Switch products or Nintendo products in general, they do not like you messing with their products. So the fact that now we're allowed to, very, very important. So if you guys can, please, please, please submit a right to repair contact form and sign your name down in their petition so that it can spread farther across the globe. Anyways, this has been my first gaming news. Tune in next because it might be something entirely different. And next up, who do we have next? I'm just joking with you. Next up, we have Kevin, and Kevin's going to bring us some all-important news, sports, and weather, but the most important thing that people always talk about, that interesting fact that's going to be shared.
Hello everyone, welcome to Youth Connect News. I'm your host Kevin Aruja. Here's what's making news today. Air Canada to expand luxury bus service between Muskoka and Pearson airports. Tim Hortons white and pink donut mugs were called due to burn hazard. The New York Islanders planning to move AHL affiliate to Hamilton. And Blue Jays pitcher Yes Savage to start season on IL with right shoulder impingement. People living in northern central Ontario will soon have an easier way to get to Toronto Pearson Airport. Air Canada is starting a new service that uses a luxury bus to connect smaller airports to Toronto Pearson. One of the locations included is Muskoka. Travelers can go to the Muskoka Airport, check in for their flight, tag their bags, and then take the bus to Pearson. Once they arrive, they drop off their bags, go through security, and go to their gate like normal. The bus will run twice a day starting June 15th, just in time for summer travel. There is no extra cost to use this service. Parking at the Muskoka Airport is also free, which helps people save money. Air Canada says passengers will have similar protections on their bus as they do on a plane. This bus service will also be available in Niagara and Sarnia. Similar services already existed in Hamilton, Kingston, and Kitchener. Health Canada says some Tim Hortons ceramic mugs are being recalled because they might crack or break when you pour hot drinks into them. The mugs are white on the outside and pink on the inside, with a pink handle and a chocolate dip donut design. The donut changes color when you add a hot drink. There has been one report of a burn injury and 28 other incidents in Canada. If you have one of these mugs, stop using it right away. You can return it to any Tim Hortons by April 22nd to get your money back. The mugs were sold between January 15th and February 18th, and about 25,000 were sold in Canada. If you purchased one online, you can email support at timshop.ca to request support at timshop.ca to get a refund. Hamilton is likely getting a new American Hockey League team. The New York Islanders said they wanted to move their current AHL team from Bridgeport, Connecticut to Hamilton's TD Coliseum for the 2026 and 27 season. The move still needs approval from the league. The team would play in a newly renovated arena, which has now 18,000 seats after a $300 million upgrade. The Islanders said this team would be their main development team for younger players. The team has been in Bridgeport for 25 years. Hamilton has had the AHL teams before. The Hamilton Canucks played there from 1992 to 1994. and the Hamilton Bulldogs were there from 1996 to 2015. More recently, a junior team called the Bulldogs played in Hamilton from 2015 to 2023 before moving to Brantford. And now for the new sports news, the Toronto Blue Jays have more pitching problems. On Thursday, they announced their pitcher, Trey Yasevich, will start the season on the injured list. This comes one day after they said another pitcher, Jose Barrios, will also miss time with an elbow injury. Because of these injuries, pitcher Eric Lauer will likely be part of the starting rotation at the beginning of the season. However, he had some forearm soreness in an offseason, so the team will bring him along slowly. Yasevich made his MLB debut in September after working his way through the minor league. He did well with a 3 out of 1 record and a 3.58 ERA in 6 appearances. Earlier this week, he pitched 2 innings in a minor league game. Last season, the Blue Jays made it all their way to the World Series, but lost to the Los Angeles Dodgers in 7 games. In today's weather forecast, we got mainly cloudy this afternoon. The temperature is now 9 degrees. And tomorrow we will get a mix of sun and clouds. The temperature will be 9 degrees. And now moving forward for the interesting fact, I'm going to talk about spring. Spring, also known as springtime. It's one of the 4 temperate seasons, succeeding winter and preceding summer. There are various technical definitions of spring, but local usage of the term varies according to local climate, cultures, and customs. The spring equinox is in March in the northern hemisphere and in September in the southern hemisphere, while the summer solstice is in June in the northern hemisphere and December in the southern hemisphere. And I got 6 interesting facts about spring. The first fact is snowdrops are one of the very first signs of spring. These delicate flowers emerge in the depths of winter. As early as the 1st of January due to climate change, snowdrops seem to be appearing earlier every year, so keep an eye out for Christmas onwards. The second fact is many frogs and toads hibernate during the winter, but by the time spring comes around, they're awake and are raring to go. Frog spawn, which is a jelly-like blob of amphibian eggs, starts to appear in ponds. It usually emerges in the southwest of England first, and by March, frog spawn can be found all over. The third fact is the white flowers of the blackthorn are one of the first blossoms every year. They appear even before the shrub has leaves. Pink blossoms like cherry and apple follow shortly after, and the pinkish white hawthorn blossoms in May. The 4th season blossoming trees are a sign that it is time for bees. With the return of flowering plants and trees, bees emerge from the winter's nest and get ready for a new year of nectar collecting. The 5th fact is, as a result, these countries get more hours of daylight and warmer temperatures. Adding daylight saving time, where we all move our clocks forward on a specific date in March, and the evenings are suddenly much sunnier than before. And the last fact is these strongly scented blooms from carpet across shady woodland floors from mid-April onwards. Bluebells colonies take a long time to establish. They're often found in ancient woodland. With that, we come to the end of my segment. Tune in for next week's news, weather, and your favorite topic, interesting fact. This is Kevin Aruja, and it's back to you, Aiden.
All right. So spring is here. And unfortunately, that does mean, like you said, remember last Youth Connect, that we are jumping forward. Ugh. I haven't even gotten used to it. 2 weeks in, and I still haven't gotten used to the hour jump ahead. It's definitely throwing me off still. But you know what's amazing about spring? Those beautiful blues and pinks and oranges that flowers start to bloom and the birds start coming back. You know, the birds coming back is Miss Judith's favorite thing, because in the morning you can hear the birds singing, and it's just her favorite part of the day. And honestly, it's a really good enjoy, or one of her favorite things. Now, I will ask Logan and Jeff, and of course you, Kevin, what is your favorite season? What is your favorite season?
Ooh.
Good question.
I would pick summer.
Summer. All right. All right. Logan?
I'll go with spring.
Spring. All right. All right. What about Kevin? What's your favorite season?
For me, winter.
Yep, I will agree with you on that. As much as I love spring and summer, winter and fall are definitely my favorite choices because they're the cold weathers, and cold weathers is definitely better than warm weather. Thank you so much, Kevin. You know, the news is very important to have, and that weather is also very good to keep on schedule to know if it's going to rain, if it's going to snow, something like that. And the interesting fact, you know what, it just brings that little bit of pop. So thank you again. All right, time to review your second news. And like I said, it's not going to be gaming news. It's going to be fun, but true and very good news. And this one's actually very awesome. So a woman who had a DoorDash order brought to her house was shocked to see that an old man was on her doorbell camera. Yes, that's right. Inspired to help, she set up a GoFundMe, which raised over $940,000, almost $1 million, guys, to allow the man to retire. And her initiative grabbed the attention of the DoorDash CEO, Tony Zhu. A DoorDash spokesperson said that their team spoke with Richard, the elderly driver, who said he plans to continue DoorDashing even after becoming a merely overnight millionaire because it keeps him active and he enjoys it. Now, thankfully, Zhu has told us that Richard has completed over 6,000 deliveries, and he has given the man $20,000, which is definitely very shocking to the numbers of the huge GoFundMe success. So amazingly enough, basically, this lady switched on her phone's Ring doorbell camera app, and she was surprised to see that elderly man, who was named Richard, ascended to a porch in a red flannel shirt and khakis. And she was very surprised because in his old age, he could hardly dash up those steps to her front door and needed hit the handrailing for support. You know, the lady said, "My daughter's dad is a quadriplegic, and she often has things sent to her house because he can't physically go get them. And seeing the poor guy struggling to get up my stairs to deliver my very capable daughter her Starbucks." So thankfully, thanks to this amazing lady, a lot of people have been giving him tips, and he has become a millionaire overnight. Now, amazingly, he still will continue doing it because he just loves being able to stay active. And honestly, that's amazing. And also, this is the one time where I have seen humanity come together to serve an amazing purpose. So good luck to Richard, and thank you to the one person who started that GoFundMe. You know what? I feel like that man will definitely appreciate it in the long run. Anyways, that has been your good story news. You know, it really brings a smile to my face because in this world of negativity and bad events happening, it's nice to have a little change of pace, you know, a little bit of spark of good in a world where sometimes it's very, very dark. Anyways, I shouldn't get too negative because it was a good story news, not a bad story news. And I am going to be bringing you your next person, and who that might be. Well, it might be Logan, who's going to be sharing some cooking knowledge. I just cannot wait to hear. What's it going to be? Is it going to be something fun? Is it going to be something interesting? Oh, I just can't wait.
Good afternoon, Youth Connect. I am Logan. For today on Culinary News, a Michelin-recognized team is opening a secret restaurant here in Ontario. A world-renowned chef is stepping down amid some abuse scandals. And chefs on Reddit bust down common culinary myths. Starting off with our first story, The Michelin-recognized trio of Chef Michael Angeloni, as well as partners Adam Triolis and Yannick Begorden, are opening a secret Italian restaurant in Ontario starting in March 27th. Described by the group as a hidden but intentional space, Pasta Perfitto is a 30-seat Italian restaurant that can be found discreetly nestled inside a heritage building on 11th Church Street. Hence why this restaurant is referred to as secret. Is referred to as secret. It's not going to be any big advertisements or signs that point you in the direction. You just got to know where it is and where in there it's tucked in. As its name suggests, the restaurant will offer several gourmet pasta, all made fresh in-house, focusing on the integrity of the ingredients and a connection to the craft, instead of the usual stuffiness of fine dining. The restaurant will offer a la carte options as well as an 8-course tasting menu that is a whopping $125 per person. Not cheap at all, but maybe worth it considering the effort and quality that the chefs clearly emphasize they put into their food. In other news, a world-famous chef is stepping down amid allegations of horrific workplace abuse. Rene Redzepi, a 6-time Best Restaurant in the World winner, is stepping down from his current position of owner of the world-renowned Noma restaurant amid some horrific allegations of physical and verbal abuse during the restaurant's early days. Accounts from over 30 former employees of the restaurant allege that Rene would frequently assault cooks over little mistakes, punching them in the face, jabbing them with kitchen utensils, and even slamming them against walls. And it wasn't just physical, as Rene was also accused of many forms of verbal abuse, including intimidation, body shaming, and public ridicule. These allegations come as not that much of a surprise for those who have studied the chef, as early as 2015, Rene Redzepi had described himself in interviews as a bully for the large part of his career, and stated that he would spend hours in therapy and anger management trying to address his behavior. Last Wednesday, Rene would announce his resignation on his Instagram, saying that his decision to do so was part of taking accountability, although he has disputed some of the more extreme allegations. And for our final news story this week, there are plenty of myths and misconceptions surrounding cooking that many home cooks and amateur chefs fall for on the daily. A post on the subreddit r/askreddit asked chefs what are the biggest common cooking rules they've heard that are a complete lie, and said chefs answered. Some answers include not falling to the idea of a 10-minute meal. Sometimes when you look at a recipe online, it might call it a 10-minute meal, but that doesn't really take into account the full story. For example, a meal could take 10 minutes to cook, but it could take 30 minutes to prepare all the ingredients for it. And basically, a recipe saying that it can be made fast doesn't mean that it can be prepared fast. Another chef stated that one of the biggest cooking misconceptions is making sure not to get mushrooms wet, or else they will get waterlogged. You should always wash your mushrooms. They are very dirty. It doesn't matter if they get waterlogged, just cook it out anyways. Another answer by a chef says that people tend to go easy with seasoning their food, and even some recipes can go easy with it. They would say that they would almost always double the amount of garlic that their recipe would suggest because to them, it's seemingly never enough. But anyways, that is just about all the news stories I have for this week. Thank you all for listening, and back to you, Aiden.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to keep a watch on that hidden. And to that news about that one, you know what we always say here on or as part of the community news that we do not appreciate that. You know, the way or apparently from what I heard, the things that he was doing were technically considered attempted murder. Like, for example, threatening people with knives, and I'm assuming probably for saying that they're going to kill them with the knife. I don't know. We don't know. So you know what? Resigning is the best solution to this issue, because you know what? You kind of messed up your career for that one. Anyways, thank you so much, Logan. I really appreciate it. And cooking knowledge, you get to learn about little local cooking knowledge, and we got to learn some misconceptions. I did not know that mushrooms could be waterlogged if you wash them. My mother always taught me, if you are eating mushrooms, you got to wash them because they're going to be covered in dirt. They come from the ground after all. But I guess if you really think about it, yeah, they could become waterlogged. But isn't a mushroom like mostly water? It's mostly water based compared, like if you think of most vegetables. Or would you consider, no, mushrooms not a vegetable, but I would consider it under the lines of that water based kind of edible food. I apologize. I should just say mushrooms are fungus. So fungi. My goodness, I keep forgetting the names. But again, thank you so much, Logan. The cooking knowledge that you share is always important, whether it be local, some tips, tricks, or whatever it may be. It's always that little spark that we need. And you know what? It's something that people don't really talk about a lot. Like, I didn't even know about those misconceptions, but those are misconceptions, guys, and don't fall for it, I guess. Anyways, I'm going to continue our ball because we got to keep it rolling because we still have one more person left. And this actually brings us into our community news. So what are we going to be talking about? Well, if you guys know, this week is March break, but even though that's March break, we still had our usual 9 o'clocks where we did a mix of morning chat and Tabata. Very interesting. And we had our I Can Learn classes. So let's go over what's been happening. So Monday was very interesting because it was a GeoGuessr holiday combinations. And literally, guys, we learned all about the world, the things in our world, and more importantly, we had to use a little bit of our brain in an open guesser game where we had to guess where in the world were we. And I don't know about you, but I've been hearing a rumor that we're going to be doing a multiplayer geography challenge, like versing against each other to see who knows the best about this planet that we live on. On Tuesday, we did art and creative and a creative day, and creativity was everywhere. Where not only that, it wasn't an art class, it was a D&D practice where our community got to build their characters for their very first D&D adventure. And just wait to hear I can't wait to tell you what happened during today's thing, because it certainly was something. On Wednesday, we did, of course, our friendship dance and our practice. And you know what? It went really good. We had over 75 people, which was quite a lot. And you know what? It was fun. We had communities connect. And you know what? There was a lot of nerves. We had some dance moves on the floor, and it really was a lot of fun. On Thursday, we had our rest day. We relaxed, we chilled, and you know, we really did need it. Yeah, especially after working our butts off on Wednesday. But also, I almost forgot to mention on Wednesday, we also had our goodness gracious, let me get my names down. We had a little live stream. I hosted a live stream on Instagram and we painted together. So not only did we have our friendship dance, we also did a little bit of art on that day too. It was really a lot of fun seeing so many old faces, new faces, and of course our familiar faces. And then Friday, our Dungeons and Dragons. It was a lot. There were dices rolling, people talking, shouting, fighting. We're fighting plants, spiders, and our story ended on a cliffhanger. Oh my goodness, Mr. P and Miss Judith made it very, very exciting, and I cannot wait to hear or to experience what's going to happen next. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the dance. Again, like I said, our crew, this wasn't just a dance. This wasn't any typical dance. It was our dance. And the Super Ability crew ran through the whole thing from start to finish, the introductions, the thank yous, the entry, everything. And honestly, we crushed it. You guys crushed it. The dance floor was amazing. We had laughter, we had moving, we had delicious food, and more importantly, we just were there together as a community. And that's what Youth Connect and the Super Ability crew is all about. It's coming together and proving when our community gets in a room, anything is possible. So I guess to say to everyone who did make it out and who couldn't make it out, thank you so much for participating. Thank you for showing up. And you know what? You guys made it feel amazing. So, oh, and I forgot to mention, this Sunday is technically our floor curling. So get ready on Sunday, guys, because floor curling's happening. Woo, 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 woo. Oh, all right. That is the end of our community news. It was jam-packed, guys. And since it was March break, we had some familiar faces show up as well. It was absolutely fantastic. Now, this brings us to one more person left, the last person on the list. Next up, we have Jeffrey. And what is Jeffrey bringing us? Well, if you know the show, he's bringing the last bit. People call it the cherry on top. It is going to be his live music.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great out there. I'm going to be playing some live music. I got some live music for you guys. And I'm playing Buffalo Soldier by Bob Marley. Buffalo soldier, trying to do a landing. Then you wanna run, and then you wanna hang, trying to do a landing, yeah. Said it was a buffalo soldier, tread like a rasta. Buffalo soldier, in the heart of America, stolen from Africa, brought to America, fighting our rival, fighting for survival, driven from the mainland, in the heart of the Caribbean. Why, yeah, yeah, why, yeah, 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 why, yeah, 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 why, yeah, yeah, why, yeah, yeah, why, yeah, 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 Buffalo soldier, war for America. Buffalo soldier, tread like a rasta, fighting our rival, fighting for survival. Why, yeah, yeah, why, yeah, 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 why, yeah, 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 why, yeah, yeah, why, yeah, yeah, why, yeah, yeah, yeah. Try to be someone in the arms of America. Try to be Jamaica, a buffalo soldier, fighting young rival, fighting for survival. Buffalo soldier, tread like a rasta. Why, yeah, yeah, why, yeah, 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 why, 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 yeah, Thank you, everybody. This is Jeffrey, a live musician. Hope you really enjoyed that song. And anyways, back to you, and check out my website, jeffreyandkevin.com. Anyways, back to you, Aiden. Bye, everybody.
All right. So, Jeff, I already had an idea of what song you were choosing based on your t-shirts. And honestly, from the story of that song, it is a very powerful song. And I know that Miss Judith and Mr. P, I mean, maybe not Mr. P because he's resting, but Miss Judith was definitely jamming along with it and was jamming to the beat. Honestly, amazing song choice, Jeff. Unfortunately, guys, when Jeffrey stops singing, that means we have reached the end of our Youth Connect. Now, if you like Youth Connect, I need you to do a few things for me. I need you to like, I need you to comment, and I need you to subscribe.
And you click the notification bell.
Other than that, guys, thank you so much, Logan. Thank you so much, Jeff. And thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you guys for watching the show. And we will see you all next time. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.